Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague, with me like always is my web-slinging friend from another universe, Noah Bailey. So last week, Sony/Marvel or whoever finally released the second trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. And I texted you immediately after that I watched that trailer. It's gonna be just such a good movie.
I mean, we didn't need the trailer to be hyped for it. We've been hyped for this movie since how long now? So I mean, more of the same hype. Like it's just gonna be awesome. They're bringing everyone back. It's
like I'm sure there are some people that were upset that they didn't explicitly show Toby and Andrew Garfield in that trailer, but I've always got on record saying they don't need to show them.
No.
I don't necessarily think the movie will be better without them, but you don't need them in the trailer to sell the movie. Like the movie is already going to be fantastic without them.
Right.
Them being there was just icing on the cake.
Right. And again, I think just having them show, I think just not showing them until you actually see the movie is it's kind of like the Avengers Endgame thing where it's like you knew they were gonna come back, but you weren't gonna show that.
Yeah,
because like it just adds the like kind of tiny suspense in your head because you're like, oh no, what if they don't bring them in? What if they don't? It's like we all know they're gonna do it. I mean, we've seen the poor CGI trying to cover up the lizard getting punched in the face, but I mean, at the same time,
I think it wasn't even the American trailer. It was like the Spanish trailer or some other region's trailer had that scene go on slightly too long to show the lizard getting punched by nothing.
Yeah.
Why would you show that to? Like that wasn't a mistake. You had to animate that scene. I don't know.
I feel like they could have just like, I guess like either like remove that part or like put background over it or something, and then didn't realize that they did it too. Well. I don't know.
I mean, I guess the way they like made that scene is that they like made the model of the lizard jumping and getting punched, and also the model of whichever Spider-Man jumping at him, punching him separately, and like kind of put them together in post. So I guess if they essentially they didn't edit out Toby or whoever, they just like use the shot without him, I guess, meaning that if
the isolated element by like
so lizard, and since they didn't cut lizard getting punched, we now know.
Yeah, I mean, we know, but at the same time, again, like
this also isn't the first time a Spider-Man has been cut out of a major Marvel movie's trailer.
This is true.
Civil War, it looked like going into it, Iron Man has like less people on his side than Captain America when they're running together. You know, we can have like one other, and in the movie, there's a space with Spider-Man there.
Yeah, exactly. And then like obviously, but then in the next trailer, they're like, you know what? We'll just throw him in there just in case everyone wasn't going to see this movie anyway. Why not? Or obviously there's the infamous Hulk Infinity War trailer with obviously didn't happen. So
but that's not even a re-edited scene. That's just a scene that doesn't exist in the real movie, which is weird. Was there like ever a cut where that scene existed, or was it just a scene made for the trailer? Like,
they say a lot of times they will like make a lot of scenes or like multiple endings and stuff like that, so that even the actors don't really know how it's going to go down. So like it was probably like one of 3 different like Wakanda fight scenes that they made, and they just oh yeah, this is totally what's going to happen, guys. Yeah, you got to make sure you get angry. He's doing this for that thing, like, you know what I mean? So like it's probably like maybe at the time I'm sure Mark Ruffalo was like, man, this is going to look so cool, and then he's kind of like, wow. But
okay.
I mean, who knows? But again, again, the idea of them doing the whole Spider-Verse thing has been an idea for, I think even before they decided they were going to do, I think people have been talking about this for a long time. And then they were like,
Yeah.
can we do that? And then it was like, hey, we can do that. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And my thing too is like, if they have the villains, you know they're gonna have to bring in the like. I mean, like, when has that ever happened? They only bring the villains, but not the other heroes. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my theory is that this movie is essentially, so let me back up. Because Electro in this trailer is explicitly proven to be not really the Electro from Amazing Spider-Man movie, since he's not blue, he has yellow lightning, and even like I love the little touch of whenever he shot lightning, he got the like head dress made out of lightning. Like that would have looked so dumb if it was like his actual costume, but like that like be made out of lightning looks so good.
Right.
But like because he's not blue and actually has yellow lightning, my headcanon is essentially, oh, and also because Sandman in the Sam Raimi movies didn't die, he just kind of left the movie.
Yeah.
Yet Doctor Strange specifically said that every single one of these people died fighting their Spider-Man. Yeah, he didn't actually die. My headcanon is that they're not technically bringing the Spider people from the movies we've seen necessarily. Like you can kind of imply that like the similar events happened, but
it's not exactly the ones from that kind of makes sense, because like it's not exactly the ones from those movies, because again, like, well, for one, they'd be dead, and for two, like, that's kind of what I was thinking at first. I was like, wait, so how did this happen? Because at least two of them definitely died. But again, movie, who cares? I'm not going to argue. But again, it's probably just all, because it is the multiverse. So, I mean, there's infinite universes where, they killed their Spider-Man, or their Spider-Man never got bit, or, you know what I mean? Who knows?
Or it could be because Doctor Strange specifically says they come from every universe. It could just be that these villains, like each individual villain, comes from a different universe.
Right.
But the Spider people we get come from the universes that we've seen. They've already fought them in their timelines, and now they're these people like want revenge on a different universe timeline that they know these Spider people killed them. Yeah, it's going to be confusing, but great.
Well, and again, the thing about these kind of movies, again, is no one's here for like the convoluted plot. You're here to see all the Spider-Man from our entire childhood fight together, because that's the coolest thing ever, and that's it. Like, you're not here for the convoluted backstory that doesn't make sense. It's kind of like, and I know some people like, with the end game thing where the time travel makes no sense. Yes, that is true, but also who cares? Like, it's a 3-hour fan service action movie. Like, you'll take any excuse you get, as long as it's not super dumb. Like, as long as it's somewhat okay with it, like, it's fine. So again, they don't need to like make this complicated. Just multiverse. That's your excuse. Cool, go.
And my guess is, and this has been rumored for a while, but my guess is that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is going to appear earlier than Tobey's. I think Tobey's only going to be there for the last act of the movie.
Okay.
I think Andrew is going to kind of be like more or less a mentor figure to Peter, and like kind of lament on the fact that he couldn't save his Gwen Stacy. So then when he sees MJ falling, our Peter like jumps to get her, but he can't, like, he doesn't quite get her. But then Andrew Garfield like swings in at the last minute and like grabs her, and like, as like both, what's the word? Oh no, I can't think of the word. Oh dear. Oh well, like, why is that word not coming to my head? When you do something to like make right on a past mistake.
Rectify?
Maybe. That's close.
Redeem?
Redeem, yes,
There it is.
redeem himself from his own failures, and also just like basically as a promise to be like, I won't let this happen to your love interest too. Yeah, like I could easily see like that scene at the very end of the trailer where it's our Peter's hand almost getting hurt. I could easily see that being Andrew Garfield's hand like grabbing her.
I feel like that. Anytime there's a shot when when there's just an indistinguishable hand or someone looking at someone that I'm like, oh, that's probably Toby or Andrew or both or who knows. So absolutely, all of it, yeah. And again, I think this will be, and I think that's going to be a big like, oh man, remember that time when Emma Stone bounced off the, you know what I mean? It's gonna be like,
yeah.
Like hopefully they don't do Zendaya like that too, but anything's possible. But yeah, and again, like, so obviously everyone's excited. I don't know, like everyone's excited. This movie's gonna make a lot of money. It's gonna be exciting as long as it, as long as it's not horrible, it's gonna do amazing.
Yes, it's like even Far From Home, which I still like a lot.
Yeah,
it's not like considered, the best Spider-Man movie out there because it's also shouldn't be considered the worst because both Amazing Spider-Man movies exist. But but like even Far From Home, which people don't like adore, selling over $1 billion. I think even in pandemic times, Far From Home or No Way Home is gonna.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna rake it in.
There's no way. Especially they deserve it, to be honest. This is about as fan servicey as it gets. Like, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't do what the fans ask for. This is doing exactly what the fans asked for. Yes. We should do Into the Spider-Verse, but with live action. Kevin Feige, write that down. Like, yeah. Miles Morales may or may not. Maybe we'll get another one. Who knows? We might get a Spider-Ham. Like, anything is possible.
It really is.
Yeah, like, who knows? Like,
I would love if the only representation Into the Spider-Verse gets is Spider-Ham, just because.
Dude, mate, they're like beating him up, and then like, wait, is that? And like out of nowhere, is that a hammer? Yep. Like, I swear. Or like, who knows? Maybe something happens, or like they can see like a portal, and there's like the animated Miles Morales is like, whoa, what the heck? They're like, what the heck? Like, or something like that, because that's supposed to be coming out 2020 originally
next year at some point.
Is it still on schedule?
I think next October.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that still could be on the way. So maybe they can do a little like, hey, like, I don't know, a little something for that. Who knows? Yeah. But again,
I don't think Venom or anything from Sony's Spider-Man universe is gonna show up, but I think maybe after credits scene. I don't think Venom's gonna show up as just one of the villains. I think that would be a little much.
Maybe, but that's the thing. It's like they did do that after credit scene thing, which again, my friend's always gonna give me crap about. I thought, oh no, we can leave. It's not like it's important. And then
but you actually left the theater before?
Yes! Because I thought it was going to be like a Morbius thing or something. I didn't think it was, plus we were in a hurry. We had to get back. It was a weeknight. And I was like, it's whatever. I don't have to stay for the Venom after credit scene. It's not going to be a big deal. Goes home next morning. What? Ah. and I will, my friend will never, she will always, I feel like for the next 10 years, she's going to be like, yeah, it's not like the Venom after credit scene and anything. It's not like we're going to miss anything important, right? No one. I'm just like, look, there was no possible way to anticipate that.
It shouldn't have happened.
It should not have happened, but here we are. So maybe they will, maybe they won't. They are I believe they're missing one, aren't they?
What, like a Sinister Six?
Yeah.
Technically, yeah. Like, I don't know if they're even necessarily like going for Sinister Six. I think because there are 5 other movies. I think they should just bring in, Vulture or some other like this universe Spider-Man.
They should bring in Vulture. I think that'd be perfect. But also, like, they're gonna do like you don't get this many villains and don't do Sinister. You know what I mean?
Do 6, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like they know what they're doing. They're not gonna just like, oh, let's just have villains happen. There's always a like, come on, you have to. So it's like, it's like you don't bring in Doomsday and he doesn't kill Superman. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it.
Right. It could be that, maybe these aren't even the only like there could be like a grander villain who's like manipulating everything, outside of this, like one we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's true. Who knows? I don't know. There's so much going on.
Or maybe it's all Mysterio again.
Yeah, they could. There's a couple villains they could bring back. Again, Vulture was a good suggestion. They could bring back Mysterio because again, like I don't think anyone thinks Mysterio is actually dead. Because I mean, come on, that's his whole deal.
Yeah, so. Like the fact that Scorpion was teased at the end of Homecoming and hasn't been a thing yet. Like, I don't know if he'll just randomly show up in this movie, but like that could happen.
Yeah.
Which further leads credence to this universe of Spider-Man, kind of systematically and very easily making their own Sinister Six. They didn't need to jump the gun on bringing in other Spider-Man villains, but it's a really cool concept, so why not?
They have options. It could be no one, or it could be anyone. It could.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But if it is just 5, I wouldn't be mad either.
Yeah, I mean, there's no losing. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe Ned becomes the Hobgoblin. Like, who knows?
Yeah, we did see Ned at the end of that trailer, like when MJ falls, but they could just the movie could just have him not actually be there.
I know. I mean, I severely doubt that happens at all in this universe. But again, anything.
But it's right there. If you're not gonna do Harry Osborn, Peter's best friend in the comic, turning evil, you might as well do Ned, his best comics in the movie, turning into a goblin, or best friend in the movie turning into a goblin. Why not?
He's so lovable.
I know.
It'd be so sad.
But even, which would make the heartbreak even worse.
I know. Hero's journey and all that, but still. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be amazing. I'm very excited. We have less than a month before it comes out, which is just crazy to say because I remember this movie was like years away, and now it's like, nope. Remember when it was just Untitled Spider-Man 3 movie? Everyone was guessing all the names. There was like Home Front and Home Worlds and
Homeschool, Homeroom.
Yeah. Everything, yeah. And and everyone's like, oh, the name No Way Home, oh, that could mean anything. Oh my god. Like, well, yeah, but that doesn't tell us anything.
Or back when it was just Jamie Foxx as Electro, he's the villain. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give him another shot. Why not?
Yeah. I like how he's like, yeah, I can't believe Jamie Foxx is the only villain in this movie.
because that still doesn't account for J. Jonah Jameson being the same J. Jonah Jameson. Like, why is he the same? Yet all these other people are coming from different universes looking like their universe's person. Yet this one character looks the same in 2 worlds. Like, why? Like, which is why I was so easy to believe Jamie Foxx just being Jamie Foxx.
Right.
This universe.
But again, they probably knew that. So they were like, oh yeah, this will totally throw them a loop. That's why we're only gonna he's like, we're only gonna tell them Jamie Foxx is coming. Because again, his original Electro was anything but show stopping. So I don't think everyone's like, oh, redemption arc, cool.
And fine, he looks so good this time. Like, oh my goodness. Like,
and the funny thing is he looks happy here. He knows he knows it's gonna be good. Yeah. That's always interesting to see with like actors and stuff. Like when they do something rough and then they like do something kind of similar, but with like more confident directing or whatnot. And it's like they're like, yes, we got it this time.
Yeah, like I'm sure Chris Hemsworth had fun on the first 2 Thor movies, but like you could tell he just adored working with Taika Waititi.
Oh yeah. No, that third Thor movie is always something. Like it's so funny because like it was weird because you're like, what Thor's making all these jokes and Thor's funny, and then you realize that's just Chris Hemsworth's real personality. He was just playing a character. Now he's playing himself. That's also a guy. So it's way better. Oh, so he is just like, he's loving life and making jokes and is hilarious, and yeah, we all love it. And the next chapter.
Yeah, like seeing Jamie Foxx Electro back again is going to be great. Obviously, Willem Dafoe again. Him in any movie's a winner, but like him as Green Goblin is
so exciting.
Wow, perfect.
All-time favorite Spider-Man villain. Love the Green Goblin.
So good.
Yep.
Doc Ock absorbing some of the nanites from his suit.
Right?
So cool.
Like, again, possibilities that you hadn't even thought of. And they're just happening. And it's like, dude, that makes so much sense. That actually does make a lot of sense, because back in Spider-Man 2, like, yep. This movie is gonna be hype and everything's gonna be great. One thing though, I really hope they have the like web shooter discussion in this movie.
Yes.
With like, yeah, I have my web shooter. Yeah. What about you? It's like, wait, let me come out of you, man. What the hell? Whoa. Does it not come out of you? No.
But like, why doesn't Spider-Man have the ability to shoot webs like a spider can? Spiders just shoot web out of their butt. Why can't Spider-Man shoot web out of his hand? Like, why not? Why is that weird? It's not.
It's not weird, but it's just weird because they don't, but he does. That's why it's weird.
Yeah. I just know that some people even still just like, they love the Raimi movies, but they can't get over the fact that Toby shot it out of his wrist.
Yeah.
But spiders can produce web, so why can't Spider-Man? I know it's a thing like with the black suit that allows them to just make it, but why not just on his own anyway?
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, either way, it's still a classic, so who cares? But like, yeah. I don't know. I just feel like that's going to be hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. When they do have that conversation, one of them's like, "Oh, I'm out of web." It's like, well, you can run out. I just.
Yeah. He's like, "You've never run out." It's like, well, there was that one time. Yeah. Flashbacks to falling into the street, face planting into the highway. So bad. But oh man. The amount, like, okay, so like we know how memeable the original Spider-Man trilogy is. Do you think they're just gonna double down and just do all the memes?
I don't think we'll have enough time to do that. Like,
I mean, not all the memes, but like at least one or two. Like, I don't know, something. I don't know.
Like I think if there is one, if I were to bet on one joke being in there, when Toby shows up, he needs to say, "Pizza time."
Pizza time. That would be amazing. But I feel like, how do you make that work?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that has to be a very specific context for that. Pizza time, or like, I don't know, something funny. That's the thing. The thing I love about Spider-Man is every version of the Spider-Man has funny clips. Like, that is always a thing. And we watched the Toby movie, so he had some good lines. You're just like, oh man, I'm distracted. That was funny. like, oh man,
I forgot the part where that's my problem.
Oh my gosh, no, I'm excited. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but if they're gonna do it, it's gonna be great. Everyone's excited. I don't know, like this concept of just kind of like, taking what people have loved in the past and kind of just doing right by it in the present is just a good idea. And I feel like that's what the whole remake, every movie is getting rebooted, remade, etc. I.e., currently Ghostbusters for like the third time now is getting remade. So like, I feel like, what I mean? I feel like if they're going to do remake stuff, they should do it like that. Like, you know what I mean? Do it to aim it at the original people who liked it, but also the new people too. So like,
yeah.
But
like don't go all in on fan service, but still have some references for the people that are showing their kids it for the first time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like even kind of Space Jam, kind of a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit did that, which I did kind of like, but not enough for my liking. But like, you know what I mean? Just like enough to kind of be like, hey, people who originally like this, we see you. Like you'll like this. Don't worry, come see this. Just to like get it on board. But I don't know, my 2 cents. But yeah.
Like I'm hoping that this movie will be like a cohesive narrative in its own right, but also be a fan service bonanza.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't seen, either of the other 2 trilogies, or I guess not trilogies, either of the other 2 Spider-Man series, he didn't deserve one.
No,
like, I mean, maybe he did, but the
project as a whole did not deserve a 3rd movie in the franchise.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you haven't seen those other Spider-Man movies, like I hope it is still narratively sound enough for us, like, oh, these are just other Spider-Man. Like you can at least comprehend it. You don't have to be like, oh, I know that thing he's talking about from that movie. Like I hope they're vague enough for you. You don't necessarily have to be completely. You go, Sam.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing with like multiverse stuff in general. It's like make it simple enough that you could pick it up easily, but again, if you do know everything, you still get rewarded. So like kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah, which I think Into the Spider-Verse did very well because the spider, like that opening of Spider-Man from that universe, telling us about, like, regaling us about all of his deeds, are references to other Spider-Man movies, which if you had seen those movies, you would understand. But if you're not, like, oh, he's just done a lot of cool stuff. But yeah.
Like the train and like the upside down kiss and like the dinner party with the car and all that stuff. And it's just like did this, did that, and there was the dancing.
And this time,
love it. They should have like that should be like their victory thing. All 3 of them just go down the street, just oh my! Like, can you imagine how powerful that would be in the meme community?
I can.
Oh, if only. We'll see. Anything's possible.
Yep. So yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, it's gonna be good. December 15th if you're in the UK.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Please don't spoil it for the rest of us, even though you will.
They will.
I know.
Yeah. Moving on. Also announced on the same day as that Spider-Man trailer were the nominations for this year's Game Awards. So I will share my screen now. Okay. So, all right, can you at least see mine, or do you have one pulled up on your screen? Okay, cool. So, real quick, it's weird that this year all the nominees are like in these boxes. They have to click on individually to then make your vote, and you can like cycle through them. When in previous years it was just all one big page that you just scroll down and selected. Like this is a little more cumbersome, I feel, but oh well.
I guess people got tired of just scrolling forever to find stuff, so they kind of made it a little more, because there are a lot of categories.
There are, and I guess if you really wanted, only really cared about a couple of categories, you can just like pick and choose as opposed to having to scroll and find it. Which I'm not going to go over every single game here, every single category. Like, I don't care about the esports stuff. I don't care about
wait, esports, they have coaches?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Wait, so like someone who doesn't play but like instructs other people to like,
that's how coaches in real sports are.
I know, but it's like, I mean, in real sports it kind of makes more sense because like, they could, okay, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I just feel like
I'm not enough in the esports scene to like know if they have to like swap out players or like make
I have no
decisions
idea.
and bench people. I don't know
That's
exactly.
what I'm saying. Like, imagine getting like handing your control. You're done for the day. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Like, is it like that? Like,
Mm,
do they call plays? Like, I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know. Maybe I should watch some esports and find out. But man,
Mm.
I like how people are like, yeah, esports are real athletes. I'm like, really? I don't know about
I,
that. But I
I mean,
mean,
they do, train a lot, and like you have to be at least somewhat physically like like physically active enough to like have good reflexes, and
I
like
mean, like,
to
I
keep
guess you need good thumbs, maybe, but like, it's not. I don't know.
and
I don't know.
general eyesight and perception is like, and just general mental state is tied to, like
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
tied to your health.
I don't
So
know. I don't know. I'm not nearly good enough
yeah,
at video games to feel confident to say that. So I don't know.
yeah.
But I
Oh
mean,
yeah, absolutely. Like I am baffled that there are 5 esports categories. Like best esports game, totally. Team, sure. But coach and then event, that just seems a little like there's no like best, I don't know, like there's no like best Nintendo Direct of this year or best gaming live stream event of this year. It's just best esports event. It's weird that they singled that out, but whatever. First category that I'm going to be focusing on right now is most anticipated game, which you'd think in 2022, supposedly the year that Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out, you think that would be the winner.
yes.
But oh my goodness, next year is stacked. Like
I mean,
Elden
yeah.
Ring, FromSoft, the guys that make Bloodborne and Dark Souls and Demon Souls and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice 2019's winner, like they're that's happening.
Back at it again.
In February. People have been excited for that since 2020, I think, when that was announced. So like, no, maybe 2019 even. Regardless, people have been excited for that for a long time. It's finally coming out in February, which because it's coming out so relatively soon, that might kind of, people are more excited for that.
Yeah.
But not only is that coming out, God of War Ragnarok,
Yep.
sequel to 2018's Game Award winner,
Yep.
also looking like a bop.
Yep.
Have you played any of God of War 2016?
I have played it quite a bit. I get the hype. It's pretty lit. I haven't played a ton. I have played enough to understand. Oh, yeah, it's one of those. Like,
yes,
it's a winner.
Yes. Poor Horizon. I like Horizon. What was it called? Horizon Zero Dawn. That game was a solid video game. Like people who like only played PlayStation, they like swore by it being one of the best games of that year, or 2017. And like I fully believe it is a very good game. The only problem is it came out a month before Breath of the Wild did, and like Breath of the Wild did everything Horizon did, but kind of better, but looked not as good. But who cares? It's Breath of the Wild. Like, just I've seen analysis of people who played Breath of the Wild that went back and played Horizon Zero Dawn, and like the fact that you can't climb everything, the fact that just the general physics don't work as well. Just like there are certain things here and there that Breath of the Wild just does better.
It essentially
even though
gets, sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it essentially gets penalized for not being as perfect.
Yes,
which isn't really
exactly.
fair.
Yeah.
But kind of is, because when the bar is on the top row, anything that's not at the top is like, that's not so great. You know what I mean? When normally,
Yes.
oh, this is awesome, but also, is it though?
Yeah. So like, and because of that, Horizon Zero Dawn won 0 game awards in 2017, because every single category it was in, Zelda was also in. So sorry. And this year, Horizon Forbidden West is coming a week before Elden Ring. So,
I'm noticing a pattern.
Yeah. Like I don't, Sony either delay this game or you gotta like push this game as hard as you possibly can. If you like, there's no possible way it's gonna win most anticipated game, but there's a chance, you know, if you can push it the right way, it could at least get one category over Ragnarok and Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild, which are all open world action games. Like, good luck. Speaking of which, sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is funny because it's not even a title to video game, it's just the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
And yet all of the hype is there.
Like
it needs no introduction.
Like legitimately, there are still random things people have done with the physics engine of Breath of the Wild in late 2021 for a game that came out in early 2017. There are still things that people are figuring out you can do in this video game, like you can just fly with there's a combination of different of the different magnesis and other items you can kind of put together and literally create a plane you can just fly around with. I don't know if that was intended, but you can do it.
It's probably they just made it, they set it up, and they're like, let's see what people can figure out how to do.
Yep. So yeah, that, that's going to be a good video game, obviously. But also we have Starfield, the next great game from Bethesda Softworks. You know, the first real game they've made since Fallout 4. I don't count Fallout 76. That game doesn't exist.
You're not wrong, but still.
Yeah. So the first game since 2015 when Fallout 4 came out. It'll be the first game that is acting upon the Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda. So they'll have all the backing and money of Microsoft on it. So this is a stacked most anticipated, just this legitimately right here might be, you know, next year's Game Awards. And I'm putting my vote toward Breath of the Wild because that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah.
But any of these games could very easily win that, and they're all deserving of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's there's not a single one on here that you're I don't know. It's no, I get it. It's just the bar is very high. And yes, some of these things could be amazing, but it's again, Breath of the Wild, we know what you know what you're getting with Breath of the Wild. You know what with God of War, you know the bar, the expectations from what has previously been done is pretty impressive. But it's okay, Starfield's maybe it could be that thing. We don't know. But again,
we know the sandwich that guy eats looks very good.
The sandwich does. The texture. Did you see the crust though? Did you see the crust?
I could tell that was a turkey sandwich.
That's what I'm saying. I love how somebody spent so many hours on that sandwich. We're no, that the nerds are gonna be serious about how this sandwich looks. We need to make sure that's as good as it can be. I want the textures of the bread. I want to see the mayo on the side. But
yep.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe Starfield. It's just hard for me to vote for them Starfield, knowing or at least having a solid idea of what we're getting for the rest of these, versus Starfield is still the unknown.
Right. Yeah, because both Breath of the Wild 2 and Starfield are both officially re-announced in 2020 at this past E3. We actually got a trailer for Breath of the Wild 2. We got half a CG cutscene for Starfield, and that didn't show anything.
Nope.
There's actually no how Breath of the Wild 2 will play, more or less. So I have a way better feeling about Breath of the Wild.
Right. Plus, it's not the first one was not amazing or anything. So exactly. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's kind of even if it was just the same game, just with a different story, that's still a gigantic bar to try to overcome.
And Elden Ring, I think, also has a very, very high chance of not only winning this category, but winning Game of the Year next year. However, Souls-like games are have like a high barrier of entry. So like if you're not into that style of video game, this will be a little different since it's the first open world Souls game. But if you're not into that style of hard combat style game, like some reviewers might not latch onto it as much as something as freeing as Breath of the Wild,
Right.
Or Thor Ragnarok. So
yeah,
God of War Ragnarok, I meant. But yeah, next year's gonna be great. But I put my support into Breath of the Wild. The next one I want to touch on. Let's see what best multiplayer has to offer. Yeah, I mean, not every single category I'm gonna like go over like intensely right now. Like, real quick, how many games or how much gaming did you really do this year as a whole?
I didn't do a ton. I kind of just stuck to what I already had for the most part, which I feel bad saying, but also there weren't. There weren't a ton. I remember saying there weren't a ton of games coming out this year that I was like, I need that game. It was very
also
much
didn't
like
help that. Also didn't help that most of the games that came out that you would have been excited for were on PS5 only that you don't have yet.
Yeah.
So
and also and again, there's only like honestly getting the PS5 right now doesn't feel worth it. One, because they're impossible to find in the first place. And
right.
two, it's like, there's only a handful of games even on PS5 at all. So it's like, I feel like I'm kind of okay with my PS. Like the only game right now that I'm like, oh, I would play it if I could find, it's like, even like Miles Morales. So I'm just waiting for that to go down in price, really, and it's not really that big a deal. So like,
not Ratchet and Clank.
I mean, I do love Ratchet and Clank, I do, but also, I'm not like it doesn't yearn my soul that I haven't played it yet. If that makes sense.
Right.
It does look very good though, which I do love, but I'm willing to wait on it just because I don't feel like I have to watch it or play it right now.
Right. Actually, that game's actually in a pretty good number of categories here.
It
so, maybe by the end of this, we'll change your mind. Actually, I'm going to go over to best sport/racing game right now. Normally, we ignore this category because we don't care about any of these games. But there's actually a pretty interesting story that's focusing around one of these games this year. Forza Horizon 5 was not only the best reviewed game of this year so far, like across the board, is also the only game reviewed this year that has a higher than a 90 Metacritic score.
Really?
Yeah, currently I believe Forza Horizon 5 is sitting at a 93 on Metacritic.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm gonna vote for that one.
Sure.
I haven't played it myself. I don't know if I will. Like racing games aren't really my thing, but the reason why that's a big deal is because, spoilers, that game didn't get nominated for Game of the Year, even though it was technically the highest reviewed game of the year so far.
Yeah, but how many people are really, you know what I mean? Like if it's the best in a small pond, does that really mean it's as good as the others?
Right. Like it's essentially like the idea could be each major like review site through their racing guy at Forza Horizon, like, hey, you racing guy, rate this compared to other racing games, or like this is a very good racing game. So they rate it pretty high, but maybe like since the other people at the outlet didn't play it or have no interest in racing, they just didn't give it the time of day, even though like I'm sure that one person like this is the greatest game this year, we should vote for this, but they just got outnumbered, I guess.
Right. And it's also like, I mean, again, racing games I don't think are as popular as they have been. Like, especially like if it's not Mario Kart, like, I mean, people don't really play racing like that. So
right. Yeah. It's actually weird this year. There's 4 racing games and then FIFA. FIFA. Sure. Apparently Hot Wheels Unleashed and Riders Republic are also pretty good.
I think it's amazing that there's a Hot Wheels game. I don't know anything about it, but I'm just like, that's awesome. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about it, but good, like, that's cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so like I said, I'm skipping over some here. There were a pretty good number of like really good indie games released this year. I didn't really play them or really follow them that closely. So I know there's one in particular called It Takes Two that pops up a couple of places throughout here, including Game of the Year, where like I'm sure it's a very good video game. I just don't know anything about it, so I can't really comment on it. But you know, just shout out to indie developers. They're going to get like the fact that like they have their own category here is and like the fact that some of those indie games actually I'm just going to click on it just to show the fact that you know they have their own category and some of these do show up in other categories as well. Like I hope these people do even better things in the future. So anyway, the best family game category is always very funny to me because like it's basically like the Nintendo category for the most part. It Takes Two is here, but you know, Mario Party, Pokemon Snap, Mario 3D World, WarioWare, like it's just any Nintendo game that we didn't feel like giving any other category, we're just gonna kind of throw it here.
Yeah, because I mean, Nintendo is the more family console. The Switch is.
True.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it feels more, and ever since like the Wii, I've always felt like it's been more family based, and I feel like that's the demographic. And also, I feel like because again, Nintendo is the like gaming system for even people who don't really play video games. You know, even if you don't play video games, you've played Mario Kart. You know what I mean? So like I think that's just Nintendo capitalizing on an untouched demographic.
But I do find it really funny when there's a category like this and one of the Game of the Year nominations is there. Like It Takes Two is one of the Games of the Year nominations. It was probably going to win this category in the Nintendo category because it's ranked upon Game of the Year. None of these others are. I just find that funny.
I mean, get all the awards you can. I mean,
yeah. So I'm gonna vote for Mario 3D World. I actually haven't played any of these other ones, even Pokemon Snap, just haven't touched it yet. But 3D World is a very.
I like Pokemon Snap. It's very relaxing, which is weird.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's see, best fighting game. I actually didn't know there was this many fighting games announced this year. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl was a huge disappointment. But
yeah,
whatever.
It has potential though. I think if they go back to the drawing board a little bit and come up with some new things, I think they can make something. But also, I think just making a straight Smash ripoff was kind of messed up.
Yeah, literally, if it was like just a SpongeBob platform fighter, I think or just an Avatar platform fighter, I think it would have been a much stronger video game. But because they pulled in all of these properties together and didn't, there were clearly franchises that were missing or clearly characters that should have been there that weren't, like Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents weren't represented at all.
Yeah.
Only one Rugrats character, only one Hey Arnold character. Like it was a little weird.
No voice acting is just unforgivable.
Like how do you have Patrick Star fighting Invader Zim and they're not making noises at all? How?
It can't, especially for cartoon characters. Like sound effects is their entire thing. Like how they making noises and like you know, I want to hit Patrick just here. Whoa!
Exactly.
Like you know what I mean? Like I don't. Yeah, that's a huge. Yes. Like I don't understand that, but it looks real, and I think that really just made it look super choppy and like I don't know. Like I think this has potential, but I think they really need to rework some things.
I agree. Like maybe if a sequel comes out on the line with more than 20 characters, if they can get the rights, I guess, to Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents characters, have a couple more Avatar characters. Get Shredder in there, like you have every other Turtles.
That would be dumb to get Shredder.
But regardless, Guilty Gear Strive, that game deserves this category. Like I've watched a ton of gameplay of this game. It is very flashy, very fast paced, very anime. It's very good.
You do like anime.
Yeah. Although shout out to Virtua Fighter, like that's a franchise that hadn't been around since the Dreamcast in like '99 or something like that. Or at least it's been a while since the last one.
It's been a long. I'm about to say I've got it on PS2, so it's been a hot minute since I didn't even know I was Virtual Fighter. I was like, wait, really? It's been a hot minute since Virtual Fighter I've seen.
Yeah. So it's really cool that came back, but Guilty Gear deserved it, in my opinion. This next category, best role playing. This one caused a kerfuffle. So, in this category, we have stuff like Scarlet Nexus, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Tales of Arise. 3 pretty solid, what I would consider, RPGs, like JRPGs specifically. And then Monster Hunter Rise, it's like arguably a role-playing game where like you can customize your character and you're playing the role of a monster hunter and you're going out on quests and stuff. Like it's weird that there was actually a Monster Hunter RPG called Monster Hunter Stories 2 announced and released this year. Yet that's not the role-playing game that is here. It's Monster Hunter Rise, like the more mainstream Monster Hunter, but whatever. That's not the problem. Like that's a really good game, so I don't mind it being here. Cyberpunk 2077, however,
not a role-playing game.
Do you remember what happened surrounding this game when it came out?
Didn't it just really buggy or something, or it was not working at all?
Yeah, it literally didn't work for the first couple of weeks on last gen consoles. Like it bricked several Xboxes and PS4s. It barely ran on PC. Like it should not have been released in the state that it was. It shouldn't have been released at all until it was playable, let alone good. Yet there were several other RPGs released this year that should be on this list. And it's also kind of annoying that like Jeff Keighley specifically promoted Cyberpunk 2077 at multiple different Game Awards and other just events and stuff. So like it's kind of like Death Stranding in that way, where like it seemed like this game is only here because Jeff Keighley likes it. So I don't know. I really hope it doesn't win, but the fact that it's here at all, I think, is a little.
Yeah, it's the biggest name, even if it's for not the best reasons, which is annoying because Shin Megami Tensei 5 is I don't know. At least I think that's the winner. But
I agree. Yeah, I haven't played it. It's a franchise. I hear people are like, "Oh, if you're disappointed in the new Pokemon games, play SMT 5. Like it's exactly what you're looking for if you want a mature Pokemon game." So like I'm sure at some point I'll get into the series, and like this apparently seems like the best jumping off point. But like I like Pokemon, so I'm not gonna.
No, I mean, it's from what I have heard, it is significantly more difficult than Pokemon, though. So be prepared.
Exactly.
But also, I heard these are amazing. My brother's obsessed. They're very good.
So I'm gonna vote for that one. Monster Hunter Rise wins. I won't be mad. My roommate adores that game series. Like he also loves SMT games. So like either of those win, I'll be happy. Scarlet Nexus and Tales of Arise, they look good, but they're I don't think they ever really have a chance. I honestly, I think Monster Hunter Rise has the highest chance of winning, but SMT, I think, as far as like true JRPGs, that one should get it. Cyberpunk should not. Let's see, best action adventure game. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, I've heard is surprisingly really good. Have you played it?
Nope. But I have heard nothing but good things about it. Everyone told me this is what the Avengers game should have been.
Yeah. It still sucks that you can't play as any of the other Guardians, like you can only play as Star-Lord, but oh well.
Yeah, it's like, if it's still a good character you're stuck as, that's still, I think, can be totally fine.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, the other characters would be cool as a little bit, but it's like, if there was one character you had to be stuck as, it's the right one. It wouldn't be like you had to be Groot the whole time. It probably wouldn't be as much fun. Although
maybe it would
Groot
be.
is, I mean, I feel like it'd be fun for a bit, but I feel like it would get old.
Yeah. Well, if you were stuck as Gamora or Drax the whole time, I could get with that.
Yeah, I could go with that.
As playing as Drax, like, okay.
Yeah, I think Drax would be fun. But it has to be Star-Lord. But yeah, I heard like the story's very good, which is important for any kind of game like this, especially because if the story's good and the action or it looks good, that's all you really need. But yeah, I'm happy that they kind of they fixed it. Okay, it was better because again, I'm like the Avengers game. Like, granted, you missed the window a little bit, but it should not have been that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So if Eidos Montreal can be the ones that make the next Avengers game or the next Avengers update or whatever they do with future Avengers stuff, I guess that's the right studio to make it if it has to be Square Enix. That being said, Guardians of the Galaxy is the only game on this list that isn't one of the Game of the Year nominations. The other four are all in the running for Game of the Year, so probably not going to win.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right. Still did a great job.
Yes, good job. Obviously, I'm going to vote for Metroid Dread. It's the only game on this list that I played, but I legitimately think, as far as both action and adventure, which I think is a kind of weird category. Like, I think they also have a best adventure game and an action game that I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense, does it?
I think they could have a better name for this category because action adventures. I don't know. Like, I know that might be what the genre is called, but I feel like that should be I don't know.
If they have an action and an adventure category, why do they have an action adventure? Like, it's not like movies where it's kind of like, how in movies they have comedies and then they have like romance movies and then they have rom-coms where it's like, well, it's like here I feel like you could kind of pick one or the other to be done, but it can still be both. But I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess these don't fall under completely action, but they're not. I don't know.
But like, why not just put them in both categories then? Because like, I feel like, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy would be an action game and an adventure game. Metroid would be an action and an, you know what I mean? So like, just put them in both categories. Don't just make a third.
There is. Yeah. Okay, there might not technically be an adventure game this year. I think there usually is, but
even
I guess action game. Let me just see what else is an action game. But like Far Cry 6, I feel is in the same like general category
I'm thinking.
As Resident Evil, kind of.
I mean, it's kind of same. Yeah, similar. I'd say that's the same ballpark. I don't know. We don't make the categories. We just vote.
I'm voting for Metroid Dread. I heard Psychonauts 2 is amazing. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I know you said you haven't actually played it, but like I heard it's pretty good. Resident Evil Village. It's like apparently also really good. But yeah, like I personally think Metroid Dread, the fact that it did actually deliver on this 19-year rumor of what Metroid Dread was going to be, and it actually like delivered on the anticipation. The fact that like it did culminate, like it did end so strongly. Like I'm not gonna like spoil anything necessarily, but the ending, the last like couple of minutes of this game is so freeing. Like you get well, I'll say it. Like you get this uh you unlock this power inside of Samus that like essentially turns her into half Metroid because of the events of Metroid Fusion. Her like Metroid DNA was like fused inside of her so that she wouldn't be infected by the X parasite. It's the whole thing. And like the whole story was the villain like manipulating Samus to try to activate that Metroid DNA inside of her, and then like at the very last minute, in the final cutscene, after you beat the boss, but then like you beat the boss, but it's one of those things like you beat them, but then in the cutscene they don't give up. But then in the cutscene you actually beat them in the cutscene. But it's cool because in the cutscene, Samus like unleashes like her full Metroid ability and shoots this like giant arm cannon out of her arm, like her final smash, just because. And then the last like couple of minutes of the game is you running out of the space station you're in, gunning it to your ship, and you're able to just one shot literally everything, like blow holes in walls and stuff. It's fantastic.
Nice.
And yeah, like any obstacles that took like super bombs or super missiles, you could just blow right through them with the giant cannon.
Nothing matters anymore.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. But yeah, like not only is the last beat of this game fantastic, I think all the lead up to it is fantastic. It's the only Metroid game I didn't really get lost in. Like there were a couple of points where I like wasn't entirely sure where to go, but like the map, you're either going in a direction that gets you more stuff, and then after you get that more stuff, you'll eventually like circle back to where you need to go, or like it kind of like very seamlessly sets you in the right path to get where you need to go. And I think like some Metroid games kind of make you backtrack a little too much where it gets confusing. This game I was never really confused. It is a little harder than I expected, but like I think that's fine. Anyway, that's what I'm going for.
Nice.
Yeah, but these other games I heard are also fantastic, so any of them could win. See, what was the best action game again? I heard Returnal is actually a pretty good roguelike game where like you like basically the point of the game is to die over and over again and get better at it and like get further. Same with Deathloop. I've heard like mixed things though. Far Cry 6. It's one of those games like basically if you don't like Ubisoft's games, you're not gonna like that series. Like if you don't even like kind of like Assassin's Creed, you're not gonna like Far Cry.
It does have the meme though.
Yes, I mean Giancarlo Esposito is the best. So like I think he's in best voice actor. I'm gonna vote for him in that because he's the best. But yeah, but the other two I don't really know that much about. Back 4 Blood I think is like a 4-player survival style game. I have no idea what Chivalry is. But yeah, I'm gonna vote for Eternal just to vote for something. And any that I personally don't go through, I'm gonna go back over off stream and just like vote at random. Like I don't know content creator of the year. I'm just gonna vote a random there. Or best esport, sure, why not? Let's go. Games for impact is always a funny category because like I never know what they're gauging it on.
What does that mean?
It's like
Okay, I just read the caption. I got it.
But
like kind of, but not really.
Yeah, but not really. Like I get what they're kind of going for, but I don't really know what these games.
Why is one of them called Boyfriend Dungeon?
It's it's
I hope that's not
like
what I think it is.
It's like a kind of dating sim with a twist. I don't know. All of these games are just kind of, I don't know. Like I said, it's a kind of weird category. Like I don't really know exactly what they're gauging it on. Like what messages do they have to show? Like is there like how broad is that? How broad do they go for those messages? I'm not entirely sure. Like I'm sure like it's a good category to have, I guess. It's just I want a little more clarification of what thought-provoking game with pro-social meaning or message means. But anyway, Life is Strange is the only series I really know on this. I'm going to go for that one. Anyway, innovation and accessibility is also another presented by Chevrolet. Why? What?
I think that's the only one that's on there.
I know the game of the year is presented by somebody. I think like best VR game is by Samsung or something, but like at least those
that would make sense.
Yeah, all the others that are presented by somebody, it's like Spotify or like something that's relevant to the category. But Chevy sponsoring best
innovation, I guess. I think isn't that their slogan?
Maybe.
I think their slogan's like innovation, something to do with innovation. Let me.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Random thought process. I don't know.
Yep. But yeah, these are games that are specifically like games that have like a way for people with disabilities or otherwise people that can't play games to their fullest, to like to the fullest ability, ways that they can play them. And I think this is a very, very good category to have. I don't know how these games specifically do that. I know some of them have options for colorblind people, like one-handed controller capability. So like that's just all really cool. But I don't know exactly how they do it, but it's a good category. I'll vote for one randomly off screen, but they're all good job. Which is honestly the one thing Ubisoft have been doing right recently. All their games have been trying to implement that, so keep that up, I guess. Let's see, what's the best ongoing?
Apex.
That's probably going to win, but I'm going to vote for Final Fantasy 14. When all of the stuff with Activision Blizzard happened, which I don't know if you've been keeping up or know about that at all. Do you know
little bit, but not as much. No.
Okay, I can't get into it all right now. That's not important. Just know that what is happening there is bad, really bad. But when all of that broke out, a lot of World of Warcraft players ditched that game to play Final Fantasy 14. And like that game saw just an insane amount of traction over the last couple of months, and like it released a new expansion recently. Like it's popping off like more than it even for like a 6-year-old. I think it's like a 6-year-old game at this point.
Probably. It's been a while. Because 15 came out a while ago. So
15 came out in 2016? Is it late 2015, early 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know Final Fantasy 14 A Realm Reborn was 2014. So Final Fantasy 14 specifically has been out since at least 2013. I think even before then. But yeah, the fact that it's 6-7-year-old game, still doing very strong numbers. People still are like leaving one MMO to another one. They're really enjoying it. I think it deserves it. More than Call of Duty, because Activision. Okay. Best performance. Again, like I said, I know all of these people did a fantastic job at their respective video games. Especially Maggie Robertson as Lady Dimitrescu, like all the memes about Lady D. Wow. But Giancarlo Esposito, you win. And best audio design and then best score and music is also another weird distinction. Like I kind of get what they're going for.
Well,
like, go.
When I think of audio design, I think like sound effects versus like music, and obviously the score is like, you know, themes, music and stuff. So like this, I think of like, you know, for like a Ratchet and Clank, how the weapons sound or like force fields or whatever versus like just the theme music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I think, but also I feel like that is kind of, I mean, obviously that's similar-ish, but
but Forza Horizon 5, again, just like I've seen some gameplay and just the way the cars sound is lifelike. Like it is that literally if you were to watch gameplay of that game on a big 4K UHD TV, it would take you longer than it should to discern if it was real life or not. Like the environments look real life, the cars, you know, are partnered with like real life cars to look, you know, to bring those models into the game, and just the way it sounds, everything looks, it feels like a real life, like you're racing these cars in real life. So yeah. Score music. Again, Cyberpunk, like I know of the two that it's nominated for, this is probably better since there actually was effort put into the music in that game. But it's and also Guardians, like obviously, you know, if you watch any of the Guardians movies, music is like big deal with those movies. So like they went all in on Guardians music as well. But the Nier franchise has some music. Like legitimately, it's up there with stuff like Persona and Zelda and like other franchises that, you know, have god tier music. Like Nier is not one that's in the conversation, but it's up there.
Good. Okay, noted.
Yeah, I'm voting for that one personally. Like I'm sure Deathloop and these other games have good music, but I can't really. There's always that one game every year, like when Death Stranding came out that year, that won best score that year because it had mostly licensed music, and I don't like voting for a game that has mostly licensed music, which is why I'm not into Cyberpunk or Guardians, right?
Yeah, because it doesn't feel, because it's like, I mean, obviously they still have to make the choices, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of like it's hard to like a soundtrack that's not like an original soundtrack. You know what I mean? Like it's not hard to like it, but like it's hard to like say, oh, this is the best soundtrack. I was like, well, I mean, if they just pick good songs, is that really? I don't know. It doesn't feel as genuine to me. I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, I really hope Nier Replicant wins, because the last Nier game, Nier Automata, came out was the same year as Persona 5. It just didn't stand a chance against Persona 5. So yeah. That's art direction, which this year, whoa, these games are colorful and bright and actually have an art style. They're not just gray, realistic games. Who knew? Like, who would have thought that?
Are you telling me Call of Duty is not art? Yes.
Yes. And like, I guess in one hand, something like a Red Dead Redemption 2, which like it did take a lot of time and effort to make the character models and the horses and all these things look like they did. I get that. But just the creativity of something like a Kena Bridge of Spirits, which is some people who made Toy Story and other Pixar movies left Pixar to make this video game, and it looks gorgeous. They should have their talents recognized over someone who just like makes a horse look realistic. I don't know. That's just I personally feel that.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, although Red Dead does look really good and stuff like that, but no, I get what you're saying. It's like, especially making something like fantasy wise or something sci-fi or something look more realistic is more impressive than just like, oh look, it's a dusty plain and a horse.
Yeah, I feel something like Psychonauts 2 or Kena Bridge of Spirits actually took more art directing than just, hey, make that look as realistic as possible. Maybe, I'm not a developer. I don't know. I wasn't in the room when they were being made, but just on the outside looking in, I would rather vote for a game that looks like more effort was put into actually like crafting the world as opposed to just making it look realistic. Yeah, I'm voting for the Pixar people. Although Ratchet and Clank and Psychonauts also look, and Deathloop, although it does look realistic-ish, it has this like cool cell shading on it that makes it look at least somewhat creative. So best narrative, sure these all are great. Guardians, I guess. Again, I didn't play any of these, but I like space stuff, so that one, why not? Although I've heard Psychonauts 2 and these three are also very like Life is Strange is one of the series where the narrative is kind of all it has.
Yeah.
It's just you making decisions to then move the story along. So it probably should win a category like this, but if Guardians is as good as people say the story is,
yeah,
it can win. Why not?
And it's like if people like it for other reasons too, they're just gonna give it that one too. Which happens a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. That's game direction. Again,
okay, so what does this award mean to you? Because like game direction, when I hear it, is kind of like best concept, kind of.
Essentially, it's the director of the year award without awarding it to a person. It's awarding it to the game. Does that make sense?
Kind of, but I don't know. I feel like
essentially it's weird that like so essentially this category usually determines what the game of the year is. Like every year, even like in 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2 swept almost every single category it was in, except God of War won Best Game Direction, and it won Game of the Year. And that was like the only award it won, and it won Game of the Year. So if something like It Takes Two or Deathloop wins in this category, it'll probably also win Game of the Year. I don't know exactly why that correlation exists. I don't know exactly what they're looking for in Best Game Direction. Like again, I'm sure all of these games are fantastic. All the pieces come together to make a very good video game in each of these cases, but I don't know exactly. Basically, I don't really know why it is a Best Game Direction as opposed to Best Game Director. You can still honor the game, but give it to the person making it as opposed to the game itself. But yeah, this one, I guess. Although Psychonauts 2, technically, I think it was a funded game from like since like 2015 is announced to be like, hey, you help us make it, and now it's finally out.
Hey.
So yeah, which and then Double Fine was bought by Microsoft, so they actually had the money to make it anyway. But it make it even bigger and better. I just find that kind of funny. But regardless, it's a good game, so who cares how it was made?
Right.
And last but not least, of the ones I'm going to do now, Game of the Year.
Oh, look at that. It's all the same except another one.
Yeah. We have Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank, Resident Evil Village. I think Deathloop is going to be that game this year that kind of like last year's Ghost of Tsushima, which like it should have won more categories than one. I think it only won Best Art Direction last year. It should have won like most of them, but just kind of didn't.
Right. So it was just bigger names.
Yeah. Or like the Nier Automata or what was it? Horizon Zero Dawn or Sekiro, which actually won Game of the Year but didn't win anything else. Like there's going to be at least one game in the Game of the Year category that isn't actually going to win any awards, even though it's, you know, one of the best games. Like Hades from last year. My brother and I have been playing the heck out of Hades. It was on sale on the Switch eShop. So we picked it up, and it is one of our favorite games of all time. Like it is. Even if you don't usually like hard games, it is a rewarding hard. Like the first 40 times you try to escape, you're gonna die, and that's okay. But like learning the patterns, learning like building up your arsenal, building up your just general power set is so rewarding once you finally, you know, beat the game the first time. Then you can keep playing through with different like alterations and stuff. It's just a very good video game. Yeah, that game I think only won Best Indie Game of the Year last year, and nothing else. Even though Art Direction maybe should have gone to that best. I know Last of Us Part 2 had some good voice acting, but I think that game had some stellar voice acting also. Just there were several categories I think it should have also won, but just kind of didn't because Last of Us existed.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, I like for a lot of the smaller categories, the bigger name just kind of gravitates the votes.
Yeah. So I don't think it's gonna win. It doesn't have a chance. But at the same time, this year is really the only year outside of Resident Evil, which like is technically a bigger name than any of these others, yet it doesn't even really have the same weight as a God of War or Red Dead or Zelda or Last of Us. Like that's really the biggest name on here, yet I think all of these games more or less have the equal shot of making it. Like even Psychonauts 2, which like kind of technically an indie game now owned by Microsoft, but still like all of these have an equal chance of winning. I'm personally giving it to Metroid since that's the game I played, but as all of these outside of probably Deathloop, which even some people, commenting on this, I've heard were like, I don't know if that really deserved it over something like, even mentioning stuff like SMT5 or Monster Hunter Rise, or even Returnal, which I said had a very similar concept to it, but yeah. I'm not expecting it to win. It would be great if it did, but essentially, I'm not mad at this list. There's not something like PlayerUnknown's Battleground back in 2017. Cyberpunk, yeah. In 2017, PlayerUnknown's Battleground was in the running for Game of the Year. Next to stuff like Breath of the Wild and Persona 5. I'm like, if that game wins Game of the Year next to Breath of the Wild and Persona, I'm gonna flip out.
No, there's no way. They wouldn't let that happen.
But yeah, thankfully Cyberpunk also is not here, did not deserve it. But yeah, it's gonna be I feel like this year is gonna be like I think the show this year is gonna be a lot better than it was last year. Like not only because you're never there for the actual awards, and they know that they do half the awards off screen. You're here for the cool announcements and other just like cool show things. Like Jeff Keighley has been teasing like 40. I think he said there's going to be like close to 40 new game reveals this year. One of those I'm thinking is probably going to be a new Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. It's whenever chance he gets, he gets the Breath of the Wild something in there. So that could be exciting. And also, I think we're also going to get another look at the recently announced WB's Multiversus.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've heard and seen it quite a bit. So
Essentially, what this game is, I don't know if it's a coincidence or if Warner Brothers saw Nickelodeon announce their thing, like we can do that too, and then did it, or they just both just happened making it at the same time. But
I think somebody found out.
Yeah.
Copycat.
But Warner Bros. Announced their own,
Smash knockoff.
franchise Smash knockoff.
That's just kind of what I'm gonna call it, because like Smash is such a on its own kind of game that anything that's like trying to emulate it, you see it immediately because it doesn't look like anything else.
Which, like, it's fine. I think there should be more games like it, but if you're gonna be like Smash, try to compete with Smash.
Yeah.
Which Nickelodeon just didn't really do. Like we said,
No.
there was no voice acting. The combat feels good enough, but like the stages are kind of terrible. Like, the move variety just isn't as much as people want, so it just it doesn't compete where it should. No.
And I think that's the biggest problem. I think they were trying to just compete with each other at the bottom and didn't even try to and it makes them both look like trash because Smash is, again, I don't expect you to come out the gate 85 characters and all right, let's go. But try to at least this. I mean, this looks like a computer game. This did not look great.
Which is why I'm actually way more excited for Multiversus, because not only do the character models look good, because like you just said, the Nickelodeon ones, they looked janky, they looked off. They just, something about them just never looked. It looked like a weird fan game.
Yes.
This, I don't know. I just felt it. It felt more real to me that this actually existed. I don't know. Does it just look better? The gameplay, I think, looks a little floaty and a little slow, but I think one of the things that maybe once you're actually in there playing, it could feel better. They actually have voice acting.
Something that was the bare minimum is a woo, yay!
Yep.
How many games don't have voice acting, first of all, just in general, especially a fighter type of game. Now it's you need something. You can't just sit there and just have them hit each other.
Yeah, like I said before, it was bananas that you couldn't hear Invader Zim just laughing and just demeaning his opponents as he's beating them up, or Gur doing stuff, or the turtles quipping, or
SpongeBob of all people. Come on.
Yeah, it's one of Patrick, Sandy, Toph. How can you not have Toph say "I'm the Melon Lord" in a taunt? What are you doing? But here we have Bugs Bunny, voiced by, I don't remember the name of Bugs Bunny, but we have Bugs Bunny, we have Kevin Conroy Batman, we have Jason.
That is legit.
I can't think of the name of the guy that voiced Superman in the animated series. Sorry, in the Justice League animated series. Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. Perfect.
They need to do they have to go with the memes. Even if it's his taunt, you just have to that was only 2% of my power, something like that.
Legitimately, one of his moves is he does a Saiyan power up.
Yeah.
He glows yellow and the trailer literally showed him powering up and then uppercutting Superman. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Fully embrace the meme. It is the way to go.
Yeah, so
hopefully this is
currently we have confirmed Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry,
Nice.
4 different DC characters: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, which I think that's the 4. I don't think you need any more
Yeah, that's fine.
DC characters. We have Adventure Time, Steven Universe. There was at least one other franchise. Arya Stark from Game of Thrones.
Huh. Okay.
They got the actress that played Arya Stark in there. Like, why not? But I feel like Warner Brothers has the back catalog to make this game something just fantastic that Nickelodeon just doesn't really have. Like, after a certain point, Nickelodeon's gonna like run out of properties, run out of characters.
Yes.
Warner Brothers, they're
everything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting Fred Flintstone up in there?
Yes, I can. All of Hanna-Barbera,
yes.
Yogi Bear, Fred Flintstone,
the Jetsons. Oh my goodness.
Saturday morning cartoons, Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo,
Samurai Jack.
Yes, please.
Right?
Yes, please.
Right.
Other stuff from Cartoon Network like Ben 10, Generator X,
Ooh.
Regular Show people, Powerpuff Girls.
Yep.
Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Godzilla.
He's just. I feel like Godzilla couldn't be a character. I feel like that would be too like. Probably. Maybe Godzilla could be like a stage or something, but like
maybe. Yeah, and at first when I heard that this game was going to be free to play, I was a little like, I don't know how I feel about that. But with it being free to play, I think that kind of gives the creators freedom to kind of like make new characters at their own pace. Because something like what is it? Paladins, which is basically an Overwatch clone. It's kind of better than Overwatch. Like it's free to play, and like they pump out new characters. Like sometimes there's like a couple of months hiatus, sometimes there's like 3 a month. Like they make characters at whatever pace they want to make them, and you just get them with in-game currency. If that's how they do this, like they start with 10-ish characters and they build on it throughout the next couple of years, that sounds cool to me.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, they like. And you can probably buy them with real money, but you don't have to. Hopefully you can use in-game currency to get them all, but it just looks like a ton of fun, and I'm way more excited for this than I was Nick All-Stars.
Yeah, but I think Nick All-Stars just didn't really try. I think they were just expecting that people to like it based on virtually nothing, and they did not. So hopefully
it is a little disappointing that this was announced right after Nick All-Stars flopped so hard. So people are a little skeptical of this, which I get, but I think it has way more potential to be something special. Probably going to get another new trailer, maybe like a new batch of characters announced at the Game Awards. Like I said, Breath of the Wild 2, maybe the name reveal. That could be fun.
Yeah.
If they just call the game the sequel to the Breath of the Wild, like that, I'll be okay with that.
That's what I was kind of thinking. I'm like, I feel like that's a better name than what they're gonna come up with, because I feel like people are still gonna call it the sequel to Breath of the Wild even after the name comes out. Kind of.
Like how I'm still forever gonna call No Way Home Spider-Man 3, or like this Spider-Man 3 or whatever, but
unnamed untitled third Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Or like how Avengers 4 was just Untitled Avengers movie for the longest time.
Yeah.
And you just kind of got used to saying it.
Avengers 4, I think that's all I have. Anything else you want to bring up or discuss before we sign off?
I do not. But happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy the family time, eat some food, and get some rest, because before you know it, December's got everything and all the shows and all the content you need.
Yep. Hawkeye's coming out this Wednesday.
Woo!
So yeah, which 2-episode premiere. That's cool.
Yes.
And yeah, December we got Spider-Man and Matrix 4.
Yep.
That's finally happening. Wow.
Matrix is back. Keanu returns. And yeah, Book of Boba Fett, the end of December, and then 2022, here we go.
Yep. I feel so bad for The King's Man. I would totally watch that movie.
Yeah.
If it didn't come out the day Matrix 4 did.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. It's
Yeah.
one of those things where they know it, but it's also like, well, if we back out now, we're gonna look all scared. But I'm like, is there anything wrong with that?
No.
Right?
That could be like a February, March release. Like, you know.
Right.
Sure.
Like, I don't think anyone's gonna be like, what? The King.
Although it is that movie at this point. Every other movie pretty much that was announced to release like during 2020 that was delayed has already come out.
Yeah.
Like we got James Bond, we got Black Widow, we got Fast 9. This is the one that I specifically remember seeing trailers for like 3 years ago that just hasn't come out yet. So it needs to come out soon.
And that's the thing. They're probably pressuring them like, we gotta get it out. It's like, great. Stuck between all these other movies, but I mean,
that's another thing. Matrix characters could be in multiverses because why not?
Just have Neo
yes.
And he needs to have whatever. I don't know if they have dodging. He needs Matrix dodging and movement abilities, please.
Because I don't know how it would work, but bullet time on him would be like, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
Yes.
Like some kind of counter that's like him kind of like bullet timing and then counter attacking.
Yeah.
Be fun.
And the person just goes flying. It'd be awesome. There'd be so many DC possibilities, or not Warner Brothers possibilities.
Yes. So yeah, hope you have a good Thanksgiving, and we will see you all next time.
Take care, everybody.